Hello, everyone. Welcome to a new episode of Barris Batch. Today we have me, Sai, my brother Ankit, and today's interesting topic. So today we're going to be talking about movies that have pretty good stories or really interesting stories, but were wasted by average or bad to average execution. So, without further ado, we're just gonna do like a conversation format. There's no list or anything. We're just gonna talk, discuss our movies that we think had the best potential. So I can start off. Um, I think I think recently this was quite the rod, but Radesham actually had a pretty good story, in my opinion. We never get a hero who we never see heroes with like palm reader as their main job, right? Or concept of destiny versus love and stuff like that. And it could have been something really awesome, especially set with that massive fucking budget black money laundering, could have been used properly. But they fumbled the bag, but I think Radesham had potential to be one of the one of the more unique movies. I mean, Prabhas is good in romantic movies, right? Darling and Mr. Perfect are some of his better works. So that's
Yeah,
what
no,
I
I
think.
agree. Radisham really shit the bed when it came to execution. Um, the story, yeah, story was actually could have been good. I think it's just the stuff that they put in it, like the scenes, did not live up to the concept. So that's where like it faltered. But yeah, like Prabhas, I mean, okay, honestly, like he lost his charm, so I don't think he can do rom-coms anymore. I think he's, full on just only action hero. I literally don't think he can do anything else, but he's a really good action hero. So he should stick with that. And his next like five projects are all action anyways. Um, but yeah, it was a really good concept.
Was
You
digging
forget
it into
Marty's next.
What?
flirtationship was the first red flag.
Oh my God. Marty. I forgot about Marty's movie. Did you see
Marty,
that?
uh,
Did you see the still or something that came out of it?
Is
It
it
was
him
like,
yeah,
smiling?
he looks
yeah,
like a
him and like a heroine or something, like smiling. Yeah.
he looks like a he looks like a fucking bond seller, like the plaid
Yeah.
shirt. He just looks like some
Yeah, he looks
average dude they
disgusting, man. He looks
picked up off the
disgusting,
street.
man. Oh my God, yeah. At least I think they put a new wig on him, but yeah, he looks disgusting. But,
Wait,
sticking
that's
with
crazy.
Prabhas, like I have another one. I think Saho. Saho, I think is like literally the definition of this topic. Good story, bad execution. Like, I mean, good story as in like it's not anything new, not anything like super creative. Like it's a story that, we're not nothing new basically, but the execution was so bad and how they got us to that ending was so freaking bad. Like this the screenplay was all over the place. Sujit had no vision or clarity on what he wanted to do. I think he got like a little overwhelmed with the budget and everything involved. Satisfying the fans, all that stuff. He was a new director at the time. Like he only had one movie before that. But yeah, I think Zaho was this terrible execution. Um, yeah, what do you guys think about Saho?
I don't particularly like yeah. Even when I was watching it, I couldn't guess that Prabhas would be the son at the very end because they bought in Arun Vijay, right, as the son. So I thought he was just like an undercover cop or something. So that was pretty cool. But after seeing like Agnatavasi and like Chatta Cinema, I'm like, dude, Loki, the story is done to death. But at the time, yeah, it could
Yeah,
have been like a nice little thriller. Like even Run Raja Run, like spoiler alert. Have you seen it?
yeah, I've seen
Yeah,
it.
yeah. Even Run Raja Run is very similar, right? It's like
Yeah,
they added 400 crores to the script of Run Raja Run and then set it in fucking Waji City with for no reason. This is an Amalapuram story, right? But like
yeah,
yeah, like I think the way they handled it was terrible, but there was potential there. I mean, those action scenes are still dope, in my opinion. Like,
yeah. It's just the placement and like the emotion behind them was what was lost. Like
yeah,
there's no one knew why each scene was happening.
yeah,
Instead of that whole Waji City thing, they could have literally cut 100 crores off the budget. All the
yeah. They
graphics bullshit they
could have shot
did.
in Dubai, like
Yeah,
straight
if
up.
they just said it in Dubai, like they could have cut straight up 100 crores off the budget if they did that.
Yeah.
But that was just
Yeah.
stupid.
Another aviation scenes got like fucking.
Oh my
There's
God.
like two separate instances where he's in the air flying for no reason.
Yeah.
Also, I hated Shraddha Kapoor's character and how they tried to put the love story in there. I think they
Yeah,
took
Yeah,
that
that was
out. Could have been
brutal.
a tight knit
That was
thriller.
brutal.
that was a terrible love story.
Like
They
she
just
got
literally
drunk
wanted
during
her for the song, probably.
Yeah,
Psycho or whatever it was called.
Bartla, she gets drunk. A dedicated police officer is just getting sloshed on the job. Like no one's gonna believe that. But,
And
Pawan
does
Kalyan
um,
cocaine
also got
for
sloshed
laughs.
on Gabbar Singh. So
next is Adipur status. That's literally one
Oh
of the best stories you
God.
could possibly use.
Yeah, I think that movie is about to become the definition of this topic also, like Saho.
Fucking yeah, easily.
Yeah. All right, Ankit, do you want to go?
yeah, so one movie that I thought had an interesting premise for at least the actor was Nota, because it was about politics, and I thought seeing Vijay Deverakonda in that role, and like we don't really do much political movies. We have Bharat and and Leader. That's about it. So like seeing another politics-based movie, I thought it could have been crazy, but it was crazy bad. So like they turned it into some other like mishmash of a movie.
I actually have never seen Nota, so I honestly I can't comment, but I've heard it's bad, so that's all I know.
Did you forget Godfather? Godfather much prueba. How did you forget that? The political thriller of the year, bro.
Oh,
Brutal Thriller of last year, yeah.
Yeah. Last year, yeah. Holy shit. I saw Norta. I mean it's like the movie straight up ends incomplete. That's all I'll say. Like it's like in the middle of a conflict and the movie just ends. I think they were trying to do a two-parter.
Okay, part
But
two.
first flap so there's no scope for the second part. And
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like it's a bilingual, and there's so many random sequences where like the Telugu clearly is not there. But yeah, like Ankit said, it's that potential to be good, right? Like it talks about like fake Babajis and like money scams and stuff like that. And Vijay did pretty well, but it's such a boring, pointless movie. I honestly forgot it even came out. But yeah,
All
Vijay.
right.
Yeah,
Oh, go ahead, go ahead.
no. I was just gonna say. I was just gonna say another one. Like I
Yeah.
think Ravi Teja actually had two.
Yeah.
I'll just say in one: Disco Raja and
I
Kiladi.
had like five. Like I can tell you, I have like five of his on my list.
Yeah, Disco Raja is such a dope concept. Like a first time teaser just up brain thump in there. I was like, holy fuck. The freak out teaser. I don't know if you remember.
Yeah, yeah, I
Uh,
remember that.
but like I was like, holy shit, like this and Vianand is pretty dope. He made Yakri Pota Chiniwada, if you've seen it.
Is
Um
that the Manchu Manoj one?
no,
Or
no,
Nikhil.
Mambo.
oh,
No.
Nikhil.
Yeah.
Wait, what is the one I was thinking? Manchu Manoj and Balia's in it. Balia's like a ghost.
Oh
Oh,
my,
वो
it's
करता हुआ वो लिख
Oh,
करता हुआ
that's
that
something
movie.
that one.
It's
Okay, okay.
oh my
That
God,
movie
dude. It's
was
like
unbelievably bad.
that movie is unbelievable. I forgot it existed. Yeah, Disco Raja, like Disco Raja, you guys all seen it, right? Both of you?
I've seen it. Yeah, I've
Yeah.
seen it.
So, like Disco Raja is one of those movies where it's like a generic ass gangster movie, right? There's like a flashback, Ravi Teja is a gangster and stuff. Present day is so boring. Present day Ravi Teja is such a boring character, and then the
Yeah,
climax was honestly kind of bullshit. Like, spoiler alert, like Sunil
Neil.
overacting as a villain was on like
That was
good now, but my God, dude.
I think it's just his characterization. They were just like, yeah, let's still keep him a comedian, but let's make him the big villain. Like that's what it was.
It,
That's why it
yeah,
didn't work. Like you
such
can't
a
just
random reason too.
yeah, it's just a stupid ass reason also. Yeah.
Yeah. And
He
then
had to do a color photo and Pushpa to like repent for his sins.
Yeah. I mean, in those he was actually a straight up villain. Like there was no like bullshit comedy he was also doing, on the side.
yeah, and then I thought Kiladi got a bunch of script, like not script. Sorry, God, sorry.
Oh no, oh
I
no.
should never make that confusion again. But like the Ravi Dev is a great character, or sorry, straight up bad person until the last 15 minutes of the movie where he has a fucking change of heart randomly. But like if they kept it as like a heist movie where he tricks Meenakshi in the first half and they just made the second half better without all this random overaction, like if they kept it as like a serious thriller with Ravi Teja playing a negative character, full on, it could have been like game changer for him. I thought he was gonna be a bad character throughout the movie, but there's some bullshit in the last 15 minutes where he surrenders the money or something, right? I honestly don't free.
Was it like Meenakshi's character convinces him or something at the end to
I thought
become
he
Yeah,
gets
something
away
like
with that
that.
at the end.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
some bullshit, but like he easily could have just been an evil character from the get-go. And I
Yeah.
even like the interval twist. Like besides the Panikimana anime style fight, besides that, like I thought the twist of Ravi Teja actually fucking being like just lying the entire first half was crazy. But
Yeah.
then they wasted the shit out of it. And my God, that movie was purely money laundering scheme and literally just to make the two heroines come on set and explain to literally do whatever the fuck they wanted. Try to make money off of them, basically.
Dude, Inco movie like that, like Ravi Teja's is Ravanasura recently that came out. I saw it and I like the story is not new. I mean, spoiler alert, it's just a revenge drama, very basic. But the way they executed it, like they show Ravi Teja in a negative light, like 90% of the movie, just him killing people and even insinuating that he raped people like in the beginning, like when he's killing them. Like they showed him very, very negative. But then obviously they have to do the bullshit at the end where it's like, oh, he's actually taking revenge on all these characters instead of just doing it, for whatever. Like, but they could have easily made this just like an anti-hero type of film, right? Like he's a bad person, but yeah, he's doing it for the greater good or whatever you want to think, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, that movie also terrible execution, terrible, terrible, man. That's like part of the list. Discoraja, this, Ravanasura. By God's grace, I didn't watch Rama on duty, so I don't know how that is.
That
uh,
one, yeah, Rod, literal Rod. Dude, whenever I see Sushant appear on screen, I straight up want to exit the movie. He's such a big
he's
actor.
terrible.
Like,
He's the
so the
definition of
expression
a
on the
nepo actor.
yeah, my God, dude, he's on his girlfriend's literally getting tortured the whole movie, and he's like, "Navi yakada." He's like, "Yakada." I'm like, bro,
Yeah.
I knew the movie was made because Ravi Teja saw the script in the scene with Anu Emmanuel, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm making this."
That was also so unnecessary.
Yeah,
There's no
exactly.
reason for that to happen. Those
Mustard
scenes
Goktanadu.
that Ravi Teja has with the heroines in any of these movies we listed, Khiladi, this movie, and Discourage, I don't know if anything happens in that, but he has so many scenes, especially in Khiladi, where he straight up makes out with like Meenakshi and Dimple, but they're for no reason. Like it's just a lead up to a song. Like it doesn't need to happen.
These are definitely Ravi Teja, Ravi Tata suggested edits. He goes into the director's room.
Oh man, Ravi Teja.
Like, నాకు కొంచెం feedback on the director గారు. Add these scenes. You have one, Ankit? You have one
Yeah,
to say?
this is another Vijay Deverakonda movie, but the Kalakandam that is a world famous lover. I think did you say
You
something?
think it's a good story, first of all?
I
I was
mean,
just gonna say, I don't think it meets half the criteria.
I think
No,
it
but
could have been
explain
interesting.
your reasoning.
So I think it could have been interesting, right? So it's like it's four stories or like three or four stories spanning
Yeah.
like decades in different areas. And I thought could have been interesting, right? Because they showed the first story was with him as like a laborer in the coal mines, and I thought that was done like well enough to not be bad. So I thought maybe they could follow into that route, but it was terribly done.
Yeah, I think the only like story that I somewhat liked was the one with Aishwarya Rajesh, him and his wife. Like it was also a basic ass story, like cheating, like all that bullshit.
That's the
But I
same
think
one.
their performances were really good. Like Vijay's and like hers, their performance is really good. But yeah, that movie is oh my God. That's probably the only one good thing I have to say about it. But everything else is just I think Vijay himself actually during promotion time, like he didn't want to promote it and like he was basically forced to come to like interviews and everything. He said somewhere in an interview, like, yeah, like the stuff that I did for one movie, like I didn't enjoy it or something. He said something along those lines. And it was about World Famous Lover.
Could have also been about Panikimanas and my game Mantram Vesave. You can't forget that. That existed.
Yeah, that too, yeah.
Uh, I had a Mahesh Babu movie on here. Spider.
I was gonna bring that up.
Yeah, yeah. I think Spider's universally like. I mean, like Fire Award, like S.J. Surya. The concept of first off,
Yeah.
teaser on it, like thing at like they literally made it seem like it was a like there's a fucking actual spider crawling around, and then Mahesh Babu
Yeah,
shushes.
yeah. On his like shoulder or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And the next trailer you see is Russell Breed like sexting. And I'm like, what is going on? Like these are two very different movies I was marketed, and Morgan Nolan, he's back to his usual antics with this movie, but I think like the concept of a full-on psycho killer like S.J. Surya and then Mahesh Babu investigating, like if they took out the Russell Breed bullshit and if they invested more in like the action sequences and took out that under eye CGI at the very end. I think it could have been like a very good like thriller, right? And I just
Yeah.
wish they went that route because it's like there's potential there, especially in the SJ Surya and Mahesh face-off scenes, right? There's like definitely potential.
If they
Yeah,
changed like SJ's character, not change his character, but change the scenes that he was involved in because they're very, very reminiscent of Dark Knight, like Joker scenes. It's
yeah.
straight up copy. Like it's not even like a, you can't even say it's not. It was like inspired. It's a straight up copy. But yeah, that and the do you guys remember the roller coaster fight in that movie?
Yeah. It
Oh
looked
my
like some shit off the Wii.
God. Oh my God. Yeah,
That's a Fogo
they could have
animation.
cut the songs out easily. The songs were terrible anyways. Cut the songs out and cut down on just delete Ruckle from the movie, like unnecessary, not needed. And then they could have used that budget to actually develop an action scene that's worth watching. Like pay the freaking whatever stunt coordinator, whoever, and actually have them develop a real action scene.
I think it's
Funniest part,
interesting because
yeah.
oh, you go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, ending low, like Rucklepreet Singh sees SJ Surya in the hospital, and she like knows he's about to do some shit, but she doesn't call Mahesh Babu. She's angry at him. And then he's like, what? He literally puts the lives of like tens of thousands of people at risk because she had some fucking fight with Mahesh and why he won't like sext her back or some bullshit, right? It's
Yeah.
like I don't know what they were smoking when they wrote that, but I even like the auntie fight scene, right? Like that was pretty cool. I know it gets trolled online, but I thought it was pretty dope.
Oh, you're talking about like the pre-climax when he like calls all the aunties out in the
Yeah,
households. Yeah, yeah. It was I mean, it was like somewhat creative, but yeah,
yeah.
that was
I'm sure he
also
ripped that off somewhere. There's no way. Mana que original, especially Morgan
yeah.
Nolan. For
Oh
sure not him.
yeah. Let's see. I have another Mahesh one because I was gonna say Spider, but I think Sainikuru, he has a couple. Like I think Sainikuru and Atidhi also, both of these have like decent storylines of like what they want to say, but I think the execution gets screwed up. The director like screws up the execution. Like in Sainikuru, like I didn't like the villain character was like it was like entertaining, I guess, to watch because they kind of like, he's like a comedy villain pretty much. But there was no like stakes because of that villain. Like you didn't like he wasn't like a Prakash Rajan Pokri. Like, he wasn't intimidating as like the politician like villain that, you see in like a lot of movies. And yeah, like the whole concept of Signing Crew, like him getting lost in the forest with Trisha and everything, like it just seemed like a lot of the movie, like it took a long time for them to arrive at the ending, and that's where they failed with that one. But in Atidi also, I think like it goes pretty well like throughout the whole movie, and then it kind of loses it at the end. Like it just goes off the rails at the end, and that's what I didn't like about Atidi. But both those movies and like Mahesh Raw's career and Spider, like you were saying, like I think those three like are all like pretty decent concepts, but if they were handed to the right director, I think they could have been a lot better.
Do you want to say something? I cut you off earlier.
Oh, yeah. So we're talking about Spider. It was basically I like the idea that they gave like 20-30 minutes to the villain. So like even then, like they gave like so much backstory and explanation for that, so that could have even gone to like the entire second half being dedicated to that. But it was just a routine like masala movie.
Yeah,
Uh,
I think that's where a lot of these movies just fail. It's just they have their concepts and then they just become routine rotta, like the commercial shit, songs and fights and like it just becomes like that all of a sudden. That's when the movie loses it.
what's funny is in half, like over 70% of the list I wrote, Hero ni thesis this and what about it. It would have been a
Yeah,
good movie if you just
yeah,
and
literally.
that's not to do with the heroines. That's to do with how shit they wrote the heroines. But
Yeah.
I mean I thought Sonic was cool. Atidi, I didn't like I don't know. I didn't think Atiti's story was very like innovative. It's only like Kaiser twist at the end was pretty cool. And
Yeah.
also like I read somewhere on Reddit recently that the movie like I thought it was fine, but I realized like it's Loki kind of incestuous because they grow up together, right? As brother and sister, or like that relationship.
Yeah.
Um, but after I read that, I could never look at the movie the fucking same again. But yeah, I mean,
No,
I love
like these like it could have been a template commercial film. Like that's all it is. But
Yeah.
yeah, they just tried to do other shit and they messed it
It
up.
gets it gets too violent at the end, bro. Like they
Yeah,
like Chinna Pilloni Champe start like, and then she's in a she's like literally bleeding in some cage,
yeah,
right? It's
that's what
like
I mean.
it's
Like at the
too
end, it
fun.
just goes
Yeah,
off the rails, like a different movie at the end.
yeah, like fucking nuts. But one I had was Naber Surya, Nai Lunya. Um, another movie that could have been really cool. Soldier PTSD. Something that very unexplored in Telugu movies. I don't think there's another movie that's talked about that in general.
It's actually
But
anger issues.
Anger management. Yeah.
yeah, anger management, whatever. But um, they bring in like this entire bullshit terrorism angle at the very end, and then half the movie is dedicated with the Anu Emmanuel love scenes. And there's one song called Beautiful Love where like the main like one of the main villains, Allu sees him and he starts like running away like a goofy like gag. And I'm like, what the fuck? He's literally a villain. Why? And it's just such a dumb movie, and the climax is one of the dumbest things I've ever seen. Right? Like I don't
I'm
get it.
I have a like complete differing opinion. I actually like don't I actually like I have to like I like Naper Surya. It's just I don't know. I think I connected with the concepts that it had. Like, I had the like nationalism concept, obviously, and also had like the character concept, like, always sticking with your character and like not losing it along your way, along your, life journey. I liked it, and I thought they showed it pretty well through Allu Arjun. Like, I think other than Pushpa, I think this movie was the best he's done. I mean, obviously there are issues in the movie, but I think this is the best he's done in like other than Pushpa, and he actually shows like portrays that anger issues like really really well. I love hit the scenes between him and his dad. Like I think those scenes are like written super well and acted really well by both of them, like him and Arjun. Um, yeah, the execution, like obviously it comes down to the heroine again. I think she's like one of the biggest minus points of that movie. Like literally, if you just remove Anu Emmanuel from that movie, I think it would have been at least an average like type of film in the eyes of like everybody. Because I know I'm like in the minority, but about liking it. But yeah,
Yeah. You could take out Anu Emmanuel, then straight up me and Nicole have no reason to watch to watch that thick ass line. But yeah, no, it's not the worst movie, right? Like it's just it loses itself. I like the father scenes too. Those stuff is pretty cool, but the
yeah.
villain is just like a clown.
The villain is just a commercial villain. Like there's no
Yeah,
character given to him.
exactly.
He's just bad for being bad. So it's like
Yeah.
whatever.
One
Um,
movie I had in
one-
mind
yeah,
was
go
Das Ka Damki, which came out recently. Um, I thought in the second half there was a lot of twists that weren't expected. Or I mean, I guess you could see them, but like you wouldn't think that a movie like that would make it. But I thought there was so many ways they could have made the movie. Like there was so many ways they could play it up to the mystery or thriller. But the first half they made into a like comedy movie basically, and then the second half they made it into a thriller. It was like this random mishmash of things, and it wasn't Rod completely, but it was just like such potential being wasted.
Yeah, isn't it also Vishwak's like biggest budget so far?
Yeah, I mean it was a hit, so
Yeah, it was it. And there's part two coming, whether we want it or not.
Audience Kid Donkey.
Yeah,
Did you watch it?
I saw it. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
it's not the best, but I mean for me like I also didn't really like the story either. Like I don't know if I would call it like a great story. Um, but it was like it was what it was. Like it was like one of those movies where it's like whatever. Like I saw it. Like it was like one of those things for me. Like it
Yeah.
wasn't a deal.
I liked it, but I think like the story's not that great. I think it did literally the best it could have done given that story. Like
Yeah.
I don't expect much more from fucking Vishwak Sen anyways. So for me, that
I
was
also, dude, he also I think acted abysmally in that movie. Like I don't think he
yeah,
like the whole like the negative character shade he had in the second half. Oh my, I saw short like like it's so bad.
yeah, dude. I mean, 14 Noodles was pretty tough to watch too. So this one back to back, 14 Noodles, and this was it was rough.
worse than that is his off-screen acting.
Oh man.
Uh,
I dude, his
he's
next movie, I don't know what his look is, but he looks like a freaking Gunda. Like, do you guys see his recent looks?
yeah, I saw
Uh,
that shit.
man, I
It's
don't
like
know what
some NTR fucking poster in the background, right?
yeah, 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 that yeah. He's some NTR fan or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Another one like I wanted to bring up was V, Nani's V. So this was a movie that I was looking forward to a lot, like when it came out. Obviously, like I feel like a lot of people were because it came out during pandemic and there were no movies coming out at all. So there were a lot of expectations for it because Nani, Sudhir Babu, and Inder Ganti, like director, like they're all pretty like widely known and like in that B level, like they're pretty high up, right? But well, Nani now probably A level with Dasara, but anyways, like back then, like when it came out, it was it was hyped up, and I think the story is actually very good. It's a very good story. Like Nani's whole background of him, like being in the army, meeting this girl, and everything. Um, but it was just the connecting points in the movie that don't make sense. Like the reason why Nani, like Kelakuz Sudhir Babu's character, like tries to put up a war against him. That they kind of give a stupid reason at the end when Nani and Sudhir Babu meet. Like there's a lot of those connecting points between the whole storyline that don't work, and that's where I think Inderganti like failed in like the execution process, right? Um, but yeah, V I think is could have been such a good movie, and I mean I'm sure they made their money back because they just sold it to Prime. But I think if that was released in theaters, it would have been like Nani's biggest hit if they did not screw up the execution.
They had to make him a good guy in the end.
Yeah, obviously, like it's same thing with like Rutasia that we were talking about. They have to make the hero a good guy, like give a reasoning to why he's doing what he's doing.
Yeah, I agree. I could think like if they also toned down the comedy, like even when Nani's doing his killing, there's like some unnecessary comedy that he does, right? Like he jokes around with the dude on the bus, which like you really don't need.
Yeah,
You could have just made him
that
written him
also
better.
like that's what I'm saying by the connecting points. Like they didn't need to
Yeah,
show it. Like you don't need to show the character going from place to place. You can just
yeah,
say, okay, like he's in Mumbai now. Okay, he's in Hyderabad now. Whatever.
yeah.
But yeah, that's where the director like messed up.
There's a bunch of movies on my list, but I'll discuss two more. These are kind of in the same vein. Oh My Friend, the Siddharth movie, and Orange. Um, so
Yeah, I
both
had
love
Orange on
stories.
mine too.
Yeah, Oh My Friend. I'll talk a bit more about Oh My Friend. So, the Oh My Friend is talking about basically Siddharth and Shruti Hassan. Can they really be friends? Like, are their respective lovers okay with that? And I wish they focused more on their friendship instead of their love stories because, like, no, Hansika and Navdeep are pretty unbearable in the movie. And, like, there's just so much, like, there's so much spoon feeding to the audience, you know, um, and like there's just so much bullshit. And like honestly, I wish they would have made the entire first half more about like Siddharth and Shruti Hassan, and then bring in their love interest later on, and just give them characters more time. And it feels so rushed at the end, the way it happens. I mean, Siddharth doesn't talk to Shruti Hassan, then he comes back when he sees her kid, and it just felt very incomplete, right? And yeah, could have been better. Honestly, a lot of Siddharth movies are like that. Story munching on but execution is average, which is why his career is average, right? But yeah, and then Orange is the story was so promising that he fucking remade it again with Ayagaru as the lead instead this time around, and it magically became a hit. But I think there's like a certain way to showcase, the concept of eternal love and not believing in it. And the way they had Janelia talk to 10 of his girlfriends was one of the worst things I've seen. And God forbid talking about her performance in the movie, right? But they could have made it like an understated, subtle, mature movie, and especially with that album, could have done wonders. But Bhaskar is he remade it again somehow, and it worked this time around. But it was still like even Most Eligible Bachelor had a lot of shit execution.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, even Orange re-release. I think Orange re-release probably made more money than the actual release,
probably
just
the
for
fucking
those songs.
concert.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, no, Orange, I completely agree. Like a great concept and everything, but my God, like Genelia's character, I mean, we've talked about it before in like previous episodes and stuff, but the execution was just terrible, terrible. And even Ram Charan, like the way his character was written was a little cringy. Not as much as Genelia, but it was cringy. It's just the cringe factor in that movie was just turned up to like 90 out of 100. Like that's how cringe it was. Um, but yeah, so I have one. Now hear me out on this. I think like this, okay. Basically, this one is Liger. I think Liger obviously we know the end result. The execution is terrible. And obviously the story as it was presented to us is also terrible. But if you look at the bare bones of what that story is, right? Like it's about this guy that's like a poor guy that lives in Hyderabad that eventually becomes like, an MMA fighter like in the US or whatever, let's say like, he goes off to the US and like becomes a national winner there or whatever, right? That's a pretty good story. I mean, for a bare bones, like this is the line that I'm thinking of, like for to develop a story on, to write a screenplay about. That's a really good story, and obviously it's like a motivating, inspiring story that you'd want it to be. But I don't know what Puri was thinking. The way he advertised the film was like that, like what I described, like, oh, it's about this poor guy that goes and like achieves a lot. It's supposed to be inspiring and motivating, but there was literally none of that in the movie. In fact, instead of that, he just dimpus what's her name? Ananya Pandey into the movie. And she becomes like 90% of the film. Like the whole story revolves around like her character pretty much. I don't know why that decision happened. There's no reason to even need a heroine in this type of a film. And even if you do have a heroine, there's a way to write a heroine in this type of story, like someone that like, motivates him to go achieve like what he wants to or something along those lines, right? But no, none of that happens. Instead, it just becomes about like Vijay with his like stupid stuttering characteristic and nothing to describe about this. And I can't even talk about it. But yeah, I think Liger was probably the most biggest missed opportunity of any actor's career in recent times. I think Liger.
Yeah, I mean, there's this Hindi movie called Sultan with Salman Khan, right? And like we all know Salman's acting capabilities, but that movie, like he's very very good, and it's the same story, right? This small time wrestler from Haryana or whatever, he falls
Yeah.
in love with Anushka, but she, actually motivates him to do some shit with his life, and he becomes a
Yeah.
wrestler. Then he wins her back, right? And that's such a great movie. Like it's one of my favorites. And
Mhm.
like exact, they wrote her well, and she's actually good. And this, she's a fucking vlogger. She plays herself basically,
She's
right?
she's like an Insta influencer or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or some shit, and it's unbearable. And I think like the where the movie really failed was they barely fight in the movie, right? Like in terms of like
There's no
he
MMA. There's
yeah,
no
like
MMA.
there's like a 4 minute, like a 3 minute montage, and he becomes a
Yeah.
champ.
Yeah.
And the entire second half is getting her back from Mark Anderson. And I'm like, dude, like, or not getting, you know what I mean? Like going to traveling and shit. And I'm
Yeah.
like, why are you taking away the coolest
Yeah.
part of a fighting, the fucking fighting, right? And they turn it into some, literally some fever dream.
Also the training, right? Like this guy all is born an MMA fighter. Like he really requires no training. Like there's a
Yeah.
difference between a being a gully fighter and an MMA fighter, like a trained MMA fighter, right?
Yeah.
In the beginning of the movie, he's just a gully fighter. Like he just fights in like, random like, fights that will go on in his hometown. But you can't take those skills and put him in the MMA like, field. That's not how it works. And they don't show him evolving or like learning fight technique, none of that. It's like, oh, I'm a fighter. Like I already came here, like, prepared. Like all these stupid ass dialogues, and it's just there's no logic to the film at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just huge missed opportunity, terrible execution, terrible story, like scenes he wrote for that storyline, basically. I want not a terrible story, but just terrible scenes.
Yeah.
I think another Puri Jagannath movie, and I think this is one of my last probably, is Ishmar Shankar, because the story in itself of like somebody's brain, like two brains in one body, like I thought that could have been an interesting one, and then with the fact that it's like a rowdy's brain and then another person who's like a CBI, like it could have been like a buddy cop movie even like with both people switching, but basically like I mean I didn't think it was bad or anything, but it was just a routine like Rutta movie at by the end, you know what I mean? It's just like commercial.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed Ishmart for what it was, but I can see how that storyline could have been, if handled by a smarter person, could have been better. Like, I don't know, if someone like Sukumar took that storyline, I think he could have made a way better movie. But yeah, for being a mass commercial entertainer, I think Puri did a decent job, like with that movie.
Can you imagine Sukumar writing that script? Like, it had to be on some, like, the same type of shit Puri was taking during Liger to write that.
Oh man.
I thought Ishmar was once again like I didn't expect much from Puri at this rate in his career. So I thought Ishmar was literally the best product he could have fucking delivered. Right. I'm surprised it even came out as decent as it was, but it's not double brain, it's double sim. Keep that in mind. It's double. Yeah,
Hey,
don't use.
double smart coming out soon.
Yeah, sure. That one's gonna be like first one was
That's
a
gonna be rod.
yeah, dude. Him and Charmy are gonna be fucking living on the streets
How are
after
they
this.
still, bro? How are they still making movies? That's what I don't understand.
No one knows, dude.
Like,
No one knows.
Liger is enough to wreck like Dil Raju's career. Like
Yeah.
that's how
There's
bad it was.
there's enough
But
people. There's literally people like knocking on Puri's door, sending him calls, like saying, "Give us."
yeah,
It's not. I mean, I don't think it's his right to return it. Like you trusted him.
yeah.
You trusted the guy who has one of the most inconsistent careers of all time. It's on you.
But for I think for Double Smart, I think he's gonna have a rough time releasing it. Like all these
Yeah,
distributors are gonna be
that's
like,
true.
no, we're not gonna buy your movie. We're not gonna like
Yeah,
distribute it in our regions.
yeah. Rappo's dad is gonna have to save their asses.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, do you guys have any? I have like I wanted to mention a couple more just because like they're recent and I actually like both these films. But do you guys have any other ones before I mention them?
No, you go ahead. I feel like I said
Okay.
a bit. You and Ankit can just do your final few. Yeah.
Okay. This is just my like last two that I wanted to mention because I actually like quite like I really like them, but I think they could have been like amazing, right? But they're both Nag Chaitanya films. Thank You and Custody. So Thank
Mhm.
You, I actually liked it a lot. Like I like the concept of it. Like appreciating the people that have brought you to where you are in your life right now, right? It's a really good concept. But it's just the scenes that they wrote and the situations that they created for the character like I just don't think lived up to what the concept is, right? Like, and it's also Vikram Kumar, right? I think the director is also Vikram Kumar, and he's known to be, like making like emotional, like that type of films, right? Right, but it just no matter how much they tried in this film, that they just could not bring out like that gratitude feeling in everyone's like heart when they watch it, right? So I thought that was a huge missed opportunity because it was such a great concept to make a film about. Like it could have been such a good feel good film, right? Like we always talk about like Happy Days and like all those movies that are such feel good films, but and this could have been one of those films like added to the list, but I think they just missed out on making like a true classic. Um, and then Custody, I saw recently. I don't think you guys saw it, right? So I won't say like much about it, but it's also a really good like concept. Like I really liked it. But it's just again like the heroine. She did not need to be there at all throughout the whole movie. And I think them getting caught up in like having the hero in there is what kind of made it bad. And the first like half hour, okay, I'm glad they did this at least. The first half hour is all the commercial rutta nonsense, like the songs and all that shit. They get it over with immediately. In the first like half hour, they're done with it. And then it's like, okay, now the movie starts, right? That's the type of feeling you get. So I'm glad that part is there, but again, remove that. Just remove it. You don't need it. Like I don't know who's asking for this stuff. Like ఎవరు అడుగుతున్నారు song bet money. Like who's asking? Like we want this Kriti Shetty Nag Chaitanya song right now. Like no one's asking. All the reviews I've seen for like so many films have been no, we don't want songs that just randomly come. We don't want like random hero and characters just for songs. But these directors just I don't know like if they're not paying attention or what. But there that's where that movie falters. I think the heroine's like a very big drawback in Custody. Yeah,
Yeah,
but those are my like final two.
I love Thank You. I mean, I think we watched it together, right? You, me, Ankit, in Nicole's basement.
I don't think I was there for
Oh,
Thank You.
you were. I
Yeah,
could have.
no.
Oh, okay. I thought you were there.
I think I saw it like in my house.
Okay, yeah. So I watched it, and it was very short, like a 2 hour movie. And it was really
Yeah,
nice. It could have been like I think I honestly didn't see that many issues with it, but I guess if there were any fixes, it'd be minor. But it's kind of like it could have been like a not autograph or Premum kind of movie where like you're revisiting, past love and stuff like that. I love those movies. It's like a cool genre. And I thought like Naga Chaitanya like hit it decently well, and I just thought like there was some stuff that was too corny or like straight out of like the Christmas movies with him coming out
yeah,
like Ebenezer Scrooge, right? But
yeah,
like I thought it was a pretty good movie, and like the thing is, dude, I genuinely think there's some vendetta against NC because Thank You got a 1 star fucking review on almost every site,
yeah.
and I
They're
was like, dude, what?
screwing him, man. They're
Dude,
screwing him.
and then like I don't get it. Like I know rods, right? Like, my entire this podcast started because of the amount of rods that we're releasing in order to cook. So I know a bad movie when I see one, and it's definitely not Thank You. Thank You is not a 2 star, 1 star movie. It's like a three
Yeah,
worst case,
yeah,
right? And
yeah,
then custody, me and Ankit just started. Sagam Cinema Juice, and I'm at the 1 hour point, and like the first 30 minutes, like, what is this? But like immediately 30 minutes after, like this police
yeah,
station fight scene, I was like, oh shit, this is sick,
yeah, yeah,
right? So I'll finish it tonight, and I'll get back to you.
yeah.
But
Let
I
me know.
think like even that movie's good, and I fucking see 1 stars everywhere, right?
Yeah.
And I was like,
No,
that's why I don't watch
custody.
in theaters. Yeah,
Bro, custody, that's why I looked at the reviews and I looked at just like audience like on Reddit, like I was reading comments and stuff, right, for the posts. And they kept saying all the comments were like, yeah, we enjoyed it. Like we thought it was good. That's what literally every single comment. But then I look at the reviews like online and they're all 1.75, 1.5. I think I saw like 2.25 was the highest.
yeah,
And I was shocked. I was like, why is there such a difference? So I actually went and saw it in theaters and I was like, yeah, okay, this movie is actually really good. I don't know what these reviewers are, looking at, but I understand there are negatives that keep it back, but it's not to the point where it should be a flop or it should be a rod film or labeled as a rod film, right?
yeah,
But yeah,
yeah, dude. Samantha's fucking like Samantha's PR probably digging Nagasaki, and
yeah,
NC's PR is probably digging her, right? It's like,
yeah, because I mean, for her, like, okay, I had this movie on my list too. I didn't bring it up, but Yashoda, like, I don't think it was a great film, like, or even a good film, but
yeah, yeah,
huge hit, like, humongous hit. But yeah, yeah, that's whatever.
Speaking of Bakanenis, my last movie was Ghost. What's it called?
Mm.
Like the way they marketed it was basically like that Telugu John Wick, but we got basically Ramesh Wick instead. It was like it was I don't know why the movie exists. There's like such stupid action scenes, such stupid plot, like people who died in the movie can't come back alive is oh wow, like a twist. It's a stupid movie.
The there was like one action scene that was like decent. I think it was like him on a boat or something, like him like with the sword. Like he was on a boat and like that was like the one thing that I saw. I was like, okay, that's kind of cool. But yeah, that movie should not have been made. Did you see that apparently Raviteja is doing a John Wick style movie now? Yeah.
Yeah, I heard.
Why do people just do this shit, man? It's so embarrassing. Like, why do you have to label it, oh, we're making a John Wick style movie? Like, no, just make your own movie. Like, why do you have to label it and like embarrass yourself later when the movie's not good?
yeah. It's like if Trivikram started citing like its plagiarisms before every movie. It's
Yeah.
like making a Dark Knight style movie for July. Like, no one's gonna watch that shit. But yeah, it's. I mean, I think all these older actors are realizing like they probably saw Vikram work out for Kamal Hassan, and they're like, okay, like if this motherfucker can do it, like
Yeah.
then they can do it too. Because like even like Bob Odenkirk made this movie called Nobody, right? So
Yeah.
it's
That was
like
actually pretty good. I saw
yeah,
it.
and like so it's like I think it's a way for the older actors to at least try it out. That's why NBK is doing this Taken fucking remake, which I don't even know how it's a remake. I didn't see a single daughter in that fucking trailer, teaser, whatever.
It's
But
Srilila, isn't it? That's his daughter.
yeah, I didn't like there wasn't a
They didn't
single
show her. Yeah.
yeah, it was all males in that teaser. But yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. No, I mean, all these movies are like all these movies had potential to be hits, and I think like if they made edits, I don't see any reason why everything we discussed would not have been successful.
Yeah.
But yeah, those were my suggestions. If you guys have any more, feel free to say it out loud.
I think I'm good. I covered like pretty much the main ones I wanted to cover.
Yeah.
I'm good too.
No.
All
All right,
right.
guys. Well, hope you all enjoyed, and maybe we'll have a custody review coming up soon.
I'm down to do it. Let's do it.
Yeah,
Because I really want to
sure.
like do a good one and like stick it to the reviewers. They
Yeah,
really
yeah,
fucked up with this
yeah. That's already on OTT, but I'm down to do it anyways.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
See you
See you
guys.
guys.
See ya.
Bye.